Minnesota was just given an F for the public's ability to access information.
It's that failure that may have played a role in a crime that horrified a St. Paul community. KARE 11's AJ Legault investigates.
And look how it ended up. Look how it ended up.
Marcy Wallace is not usually an angry woman.
Absolutely not.
A semi-retired attorney, Marcy now devotes much of her time as editor of the Ramsey Hill Neighborhood newsletter.
We love this neighborhood.
But a crime in the neighborhood she's called home since 1981 has left her furious that Minnesota hid critical information from the public about a man whose suspicious behavior had been making neighbors uneasy for months.
I wanted to find that. It should have been there, but it was not.
What's not there in the state's online criminal courts database is records showing the man charged with kidnapping and sexually assaulting a 7-year-old girl in Marcy's beloved neighborhood had committed a previous sex offense against a child.
And I was bewildered that that information was not in the public database where I believed it should be.
In 2011, August James Rutherford, who at the time went by the name Mark Myhofer, solicited a young girl for sex in Anoka. He admitted to the police he was a pedophile.
Apparently you think about having sex with children?
True.
His trial proved beyond all reasonable doubt he committed the offense, but he was found not guilty by reason of mental illness.
No one is acquitted by reason of mental illness unless they've committed the crime.
But when the paranoid schizophrenic began acting so bizarre towards children in St. Paul that police were repeatedly called, records show officers told neighbors he had no criminal history. Marcy says she fact-checked that on the online courts database.
I'm searching for Mark Myhofer.
And found nothing but minor infractions.
We know all about his parking violations, but we don't know that he offered a little girl $10,000 to have sex with him.
In Minnesota, charges that don't end in convictions and even current pending cases can only be found if you come down to the courthouse, find a place to park, take your belt and your watch off, go inside, go through security, get on the elevator, find the right floor, the right room, where there's a public access computer terminal that may or may not be available, just to search for the case.
And I don't understand why.
Neither does KARE 11. So we recently asked the question to attorney Julia Schmidoff-Latz, who sits on the Supreme Court Advisory Committee that oversees access to criminal court records.
Isn't that information that a consumer should be able to get?
If they're convicted, yes.
But if they're not convicted, she argues people can find time during regular business hours to go to the courthouse to search for the information.
The transparency exists. The transparency is there. It truly is a question of convenience.
Marcy contends Minnesota now needs to face an inconvenient truth that making public records hard to find kept the public from finding out about the danger living next door until it was too late.
Why make it hard for us to get? And look what happened after it was made hard to get. Look what happened.
Rutherford, a.k.a. Myhofer, will be in court on Monday for a hearing to determine if he's competent to stand trial. AJ Legault, KARE 11 News.